Suzhou and Hangzhou, the Tang family. Today is the birthday party of the Tang family, and all the famous families in Suzhou and Hangzhou are here. A handsome young man with sword eyebrows and star eyes suddenly trembled, and a word of slang came out of his mouth. After quickly adjusting to the memory in his mind, Tang Yu collapsed a little. He is a serious online literature lover, and he has read no 1,800 urban cool articles. As a result, I suddenly got a villain system some time ago. This dog system allows him to become a villain in novels, and he will be rewarded every time he survives a big story. If you live to the end, you can return to the original world with rewards and wealth. And then it's a hellish start every time. He was KO'd by the Dragon King male lead in all sorts of ways. System, what book is this? Tang Yu shouted in his heart. This is God of War Dragon King game Yuhuadu, and now it's chapter 57. After being prompted by the system, Tang Yu quickly remembered the plot of the book. This is also a common routine romance novel, with the protagonist named Yi Chen. He came from a big family in Yangjing, and his family was destroyed when he was 5 years old. After being taken to a foreign country by an old man, he was trained to become the top assassin. He also founded the world's first mercenary organization called Dragon Soul, and was known as the Dragon King. In addition, his medical skills are all first class in the world, and he can easily appraise jade and antiques. This time, he returned to China under an assumed name to investigate the massacre of his family that year. In the meantime, he also picked up dozens of beauties and opened a harem, eventually reaching the pinnacle of life. And Tang Yu's identity is the eldest young master of the Tang family. The Tang family is the head of the 4 major families in Suzhou and Hangzhou, and the assets have reached trillions. It should have been a very cool thing to wear this kind of character. But no matter how noble the villain is, it is just a stepping stone for the protagonist. The plot of chapter 57, F***K, I'm going to die again? Tang Yu's face turned pale when he recalled the plot in the book. According to the plot of the book, today is his grandfather's birthday party. At this birthday party, he will be engaged to the first heroine Sumuyu. The Su family is also the 4 major families of Suzhou and Hangzhou, but it ranks last. And Tang Yu is Sumuyu's loyal licking dog. He does not hesitate to use all kinds of family resources to help each other. The pursuit for 3 years has not been exchanged for Sumuyu to look at him. After the elders of the Tang family could not bear to watch any longer, they decided to arrange a marriage between the 2 families. After Yi Chen, the Dragon King, knew about this, he fought and took Sumuyu away at the birthday party. And Tang Yu, the licking dog, was kicked into a vegetative state by Yi Chen, and died soon after. This setting is poisonous, isn't it? After recalling the plot, Tang Yu couldn't help scolding mother in his heart. This villain setting is mentally retarded. A top student who graduated from Yale University, handsome and worth trillions, will be a licking dog for 3 years for a woman who dumps her face every day. If he were a rich man worth tens of millions of dollars, he would have been driving a Cadillac to the club to have fun. No, I have to think of a way. Tang Yu glanced around the hall. Today was Grandpa's birthday party, and many guests came. Soon, his gaze locked on a young man's face. This man was Yi Chen, and he sat low-key in the corner with a glass of red wine. His current identity is Sumuyu's bodyguard. Bodyguard, this trick is understood by those who know it. It's okay for Laozi not to get engaged. As soon as Tang Yu murmured in his heart, a beautiful girl in a blue dress walked over. The girl had an outstanding temperament and a beautiful appearance, but her eyes were as cold as a knife. She looked at Tang Yu with a hint of disgust. It was the first heroine, Sumuyu. Walking in front of Tang Yu, Sumuyu said indifferently, Tang Xiao, please don't pester me, let's get rid of the marriage, I won't agree. Tang Yu had already sorted out his thoughts, and he was eager for this, so he nodded and said, I agree. Perhaps because Tang Yu agreed too readily, Sumuyu didn't react. She stared at Tang Yu. She couldn't believe her ears. Did she hear it wrong? At the same time, a frantic voice came from her ear. It must not be married. I thank your ancestors for 18 generations, and your great kindness will be repaid in the next life. Quickly elope with your Yi Chen, die laughing, his harem needs you. After hearing this voice, she frowned and looked around. Who is speaking? The voice she heard seemed to be similar to Tang Yu's. But he didn't open his mouth either? Could it be that she had heard wrong? What? Isn't it about breaking the marriage? Let's go and talk to the elders together. Tang Yu urged with a light smile. As long as they don't get married, Yi Chen has no reason to embarrass himself, right? Such a son of luck, what he can do as a villain is not to provoke him, and then be a rich, handsome and happy to the end. Cool. Okay? Sumuyu nodded and agreed, and left with Tang Yu, ready to talk to the elders. Tang Yu, who was walking in front, had a calm expression, but his heart was filled with joy. That's great, hurry up and break off ties with this stupid woman, so Yi Chen won't be able to bother me. I must survive until the end. It's just a pity that the first beauty of Suzhou, being a concubine of Yi Chen, is already a joke, but she also dragged the Su family down to ruin. It's no wonder it's a brainless romance novel. When the critique voices resurface, Sumuyu was certain that this was definitely Tang Yu's voice. Because now it's just the two of them in the corridor. Known as the first beauty in Suzhou and Hangzhou, she not only relies on her beauty, but also her extraordinary IQ talent. After quickly understanding all this, her face flashed a gloomy look. Yi Chen? This is the bodyguard she recruited some time ago. At that time, she was entangled by several hooligans, and the other party rescued her. She saw that Yi Chen was quite skilled, so she kept him in the Su family to repay him. After Yi Chen became a bodyguard, he helped her with a lot of things, and the two became good friends. But what about being a harem? Going to be a harem for a little bodyguard by yourself, but also implicated in the unfortunate family? In an instant, she felt a sense of resistance to Yi Chen. How could she, a noble and accomplished woman, be a harem for a lowly bodyguard? Soon, the two walked to a study room. In the study at the moment, the elders of the Tang family and the Su family are sitting together and talking about marriage. After the two came in, they greeted the elders one by one. Tang Yu, you're here just in time. I have something to tell you. I talked with you, Su uncle, and the others just now. I think you and Muyu are a good match. We plan to settle your marriage. What do you think? A middle-aged man with a Chinese character looked at Tang Yu and shouted. It was Tang Yu's father, Tang Gangcheng. I don't think it's appropriate. Tang Yu decisively refused. Everyone in the house looked strange, inappropriate. Who does not know in the whole of Suzhou and Hangzhou, your kid has been chasing others for 3 years? Tang Yu coughed dryly and cleared his throat. Elders, there is a saying that a strong melon is not sweet. I have recently reflected on it and found that Muyu and I are indeed incompatible personalities. Marriage is a lifetime affair. It is better to leave the choice to both of us. Thank you for your concern for us. After saying this, Tang Yu felt much more comfortable. Hehe, I won't have to be killed this time. The elders of the Tang and Su families were dumbfounded. After a group of people looked at each other, Su Muyu's father Su Chongshan suddenly spoke. Xiao Yu, uncle knows what you're thinking. Did Muyu force you to say that? Don't worry, uncle will handle this for you today. Tang Yu was stunned. Uncle, are you hoping I get beaten to death? No, Su uncle, I really... Tang Yu was about to explain, but Su Zhongshan waved his hand and said. Needless to say, uncle understands you. Then Su Chongshan looked at his daughter Rage and said. Muyu, tell yourself, how has Xiao Yu treated you over the past few years? People take great care of you in every possible way. You are sick and hospitalized. How long have you been staying? Xiao Yu has been watching over you. In terms of condition and appearance, where did Xiao Yu lose to you? You still force him to say such a thing, I'm really going to be mad at you. Su Muyu, who was sprayed with saliva by her father, was dumbfounded. What do you mean you forced him? This guy is happy in his heart, right? Come on, talk back, what are you still doing? And quarreled with your father, we worked together to make this mess up. We each live their own I also go to find 10 or 8 sister happy to play. If you don't talk back, I'll really be in bad luck. Do you still want to elope with your Dragon King Yi Chen? At the same time, the voiceover sounded again. Seeing Tang Yu winked at him. Su Muyu burst into flames at once. Bastard, one mouthful of your Yi Chen, What does he take himself for? Why should I run away with a bodyguard? What is he? And when she heard that this guy was going to find 10 or 18 younger sisters, she was even more angry. You have been chasing me for 3 years, and you change your mind when you say you change your mind? Dad, I didn't let him say that. I support marriage. Sumuyu, who was angry, suddenly said. Su Chongshan, who was so angry, was stunned for a moment, and he said in surprise, "You didn't lie to me." No. Sumuyu shook her head. Her face turned a little more rosy, and she bit her lip. He is really good to me. I am moved by his intentions, but I want to start slowly with love, okay? Of course it's alright. Eat one bite at a time. Take your time. Hearing this, Su Chongshan showed a relieved smile. It turned out that it was not her daughter who opposed the marriage, but Xiaoyu, the child, who was worried that she might have wronged her daughter, so she took the initiative to give up the marriage. This son-in-law is so sweet. The elders in the room also smiled, thinking the same as Su Chongshan. Tang Yu, who was smiling just now, looked even uglier than eating shit. He walked up to Sumuyu and squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying. Muyu, you don't have to force yourself to do this, I understand what you think. Sumuyu bit her red lips and said in a low voice, but my idea is to start with love first. Xiaoyu, Muyu is just a bit cold-natured and not good at expressing herself. Don't think that she doesn't like you. Girls are all thin-skinned. Su Chongshan patted Tang Yu's shoulder with a kind smile and encouraged him. Tang Yu's face twitched. And Sumuyu's ears sounded a series of angry complaints. You are so crazy. Let's get married together. Who really wants to fall in love with you? You have to follow the novel's plot. The Dragon King's harem is your home. Please, come here quickly, smelling salts, don't get nervous. After hearing these thoughts, the corner of Sumuyu's mouth rose slightly, and there was a smile in her eyes. Seeing this guy in a hurry, she thought it was quite funny. Now he looks much more interesting than the dog-licking face he used to have. Okay, since they saw the right eye, then we don't have to worry about it, let's just go out and announce it. At this moment, Mr. Tang suddenly said. Everyone laughed and left the study. Tang Yu followed Sumuyu at the back. Seeing a smile on the woman's face, Tang Yu wanted to hit her with a set of military boxing. Didn't you agree not to get married? He gritted his teeth in a low voice. But I was moved by your sincerity. The smile on Sumuyu's mouth became even hotter. It was the first time Tang Yu saw her smile like this to him, which made him lose his mind for a moment. Then he reached out to touch Sumuyu's forehead, to see if the woman's brain was burned out. If you are not feeling well, let's go to the hospital for a checkup. Marriage is not a child's play, you have figured it out clearly. Tang Yu said bitterly. Sisters, if you are sick, treat it as soon as possible. If you don't go to the doctor, I will have to go to the doctor later. It's okay, I figured it out, and isn't this married yet? The old god Sumuyu is talking. Then I don't want it, the twisted melon is not sweet. It's okay, just quench your thirst. Sumuyu smiled even more happily. Seeing this guy shriveled, she couldn't be more beautiful in her heart. She looked at Tang Yu seriously and said, and your attitude has changed so much suddenly. Is it possible that you have a terminal illness and are afraid of burdening me? Tang Yu looked desperate and had nothing to say. Why doesn't this woman follow the plot? She must have had water in her head, and she was really killed by her now. Later, Yi Chen will definitely come out and make a big noise. After finally becoming a rich and handsome villain, I will be gone? Damn the novel plot. Accompanied by Tang Yu's complaints, it sounded again. Sumuyu became more and more curious in her heart. Will things really turn out the same as this guy's heart later? When a group of people returned to the hall, Mr. Tang first expressed his gratitude to the guests who came to celebrate his birthday. Then he called Tang Yu and Sumuyu in front of him and watched the crowd announce. My friends and relatives, I have a happy event to share with you today. Our Tang family decided to marry the Su family. From today, Sumuyu will be half of our Tang family's granddaughter-in-law. After Mr. Tang's announcement, the guests who came to the banquet immediately began to applaud. Everyone in the Su family was even more delighted. And Yi Chen, who was tasting red wine in the corner, turned gloomy instantly. With a murderous look on his face, he strode towards Tang Yu. Sumuyu was the woman he liked. Anyone who wants to get their hands on it must die. Damn, he's coming with murderous intent. Why the hell is it still like this? Am I destined to get beaten up today? At this moment, Tang Yu's complaint sounded again. Sumuyu took a look after hearing it, and really saw Yi Chen walking over with a murderous look on her face. This made Sumuyu a little shocked. Today, everyone in the Su family is here to attend the banquet, so naturally they will not bring bodyguards here. But Yi Chen really appeared here? Exactly what this guy said. I don't agree with this marriage. Walking 3 meters away, Yi Chen shouted angrily with a cold face. Everyone's eyes were focused on him. The guests who came today are all the famous nobles from Suzhou and Hangzhou. Except for a few people from the Su family, no one knows who Yi Chen is. Su Chongshan remembered that this man named Yi Chen was the new bodyguard in the family. Seeing him come out to make trouble, Su Chongshan's face darkened, and he stood up and shouted. What are you? A little bodyguard. It's your turn to dictate the affairs of my Su family. A trace of killing intent flashed in Yi Chen's eyes. If it wasn't for Sumuyu's father who said this, he would have already started. He, the Dragon King. Across the world in foreign countries, European princes and nobles dare not talk to him in such a manner. He stared at everyone in the Su family, and pointed at each other with his fingers. The dignified Su family, a famous family, sacrificing a girl's happiness for the prosperity of the family. Do you still have any sense of shame? Ha ha ha, here we come, the classic verbal onslaught begins. To meddle in other families' affairs is one thing, then resort to violence, play the hero to save the beauty, in the end, isn't it the Su family that will be unlucky? But in the world of enjoyable novels, the protagonist achieves success, and others are just stepping stones, quite normal. Tang Yu's voiceover sounded again. According to the original plot, Sumuyu was forced by her family to agree to a marriage. When she was most desperate, the Dragon King Yi Chen intervened and took her away. After Yi Chen broke the shackles in her heart, she became her only reliance. She fell in love with Yi Chen and became Yi Chen's first harem. But at this moment, Sumuyu frowned slightly, not moved or surprised at all. After listening to Tang Yu's thoughts for a long time, her mentality has completely changed. Rebellion, the little bodyguard dares to make trouble and drive him out. Su Chongshan shouted in anger. Soon, a tall man in a suit ran over. It was He Jin, the bodyguard captain of the Tang family. He Jin is a retired special forces soldier. He can be the captain of the Tang family's bodyguards, so he is naturally good at it. He is also very loyal to the Tang family. According to the original plot, he was the first to shoot and the first to be killed. After he was beaten to death, it was soon Tang Yu's turn to be unlucky. Do not impulse. Tang Yu hurried up to stop He Jin and persuaded, I have something to say. Today is my grandfather's birthday. It's not good to hurt your hands and get angry. Seeing the eldest young master speak, He Jin stopped. Did you see? It's still young Master Tang who is of high quality and doesn't care about such savages. If it was me, I would have pulled it out and killed it to feed the dogs. I think most of them want to grab a woman with young Master Tang. Is he worthy of his poor and sour look? The surrounding onlookers praised Tang Yu for his demeanor, and did not forget to step on Yi Chen by the way. This was also a consistent pattern in enjoyable novels. First use passers-by to increase the protagonist's anger, then the villain jumps out to chat a few words, and then gets knocked down by a punch. Tang Yu panicked to death when he heard these words. Why are you yelling so loudly? Can the attitude be better? You enjoy cursing for a moment. I was sent to the crematorium. Sure enough, after hearing the words of these passers-by, Yi Chen's face was instantly ashen, and he stared at Tang Yu. It's all the culprit. If it wasn't for him pestering Sumuyu, how could things have become like this? Fuck, what the hell are you staring at me for? It's not that I scold you. I didn't even ask anyone to take action. What are you going to do? If you want to grab someone, hurry up, don't come at me, you stinky idiot. Tang Yu was tensed by the chrysanthemum he was staring at, and complained in his heart. This guy is the Dragon King, and the bodyguards of the entire Tang family are not enough for him to fight alone. It really made him angry, and it won't be long before everyone can come to Tang's house to attend their own funeral. Sumuyu listened to it for a long time, and couldn't help but burst out laughing. Seeing Sumuyu smile, Yi Chen's expression softened a bit. He thought that Sumuyu laughed because she stood up to speak for her. So he smiled evilly at Sumuyu, with an astonishing arc at the corner of his mouth, and walked over. Muyu, no one can sacrifice your freedom in exchange for benefits. With me here, you can go wherever you want, and whoever stops you will die. Tang Yu, who was beside him, took 2 steps back silently to distance himself, feeling a little excited. Yes, go up to A. The male and female guests hold hands will leave you quickly if they succeed. In the original plot, Tang Yu has already taken the bodyguards up to do it now. Now he stopped the bodyguard too. As long as this guy takes Sumuyu away, the next thing has nothing to do with him. Yi Chen walked over and grabbed Sumuyu's hand, and was about to lead her away from the Tang family. His hand hadn't touched Sumuyu yet. Sumuyu took 2 steps back and looked at Yi Chen with a cold face. What are you doing? Crazy, when was my freedom sacrificed? After listening to her heart for a long time, she already understood what was going on. The world I live in seems to be a novel world. According to the normal plot, I have been eloped by this guy at this moment. She was extremely disgusted at the thought that she had become this guy's harem. Yi Chen's face was shocked, and a trace of anger flashed in his eyes. How dare this woman refuse her? Doesn't she understand that when the whole world betrays her, she is the only one who is willing to betray the world for her? Immediately, he reacted again, looked at Sumuyu and smiled. Muyu, I know what you're afraid of. Don't worry, I'm here. The Tang family doesn't dare to do anything to you. After he finished speaking, he stared at Tang Yu with cold eyes. Sumuyu didn't dare to go with her. She must have been coerced by this guy. The eldest son of the Tang family? What is it? This is also in the country. It is not good to kill people casually. If he was abroad, he would order 100 or so mercenaries to wipe out the Tang family in an instant. You are so cerebral congestion, what's it to me? I even told the bodyguards not to intervene. And Sumuyu, you are a vicious woman. Is it necessary to act this way to protect him? Give you 1 million, hurry up and fly away. Don't torture me, brother. Tang Yu wanted to die now. These 2 people have king brain problems. You think too much. You are just a bodyguard of our Su family. You have been fired from today. Please leave here immediately. A trace of anger appeared on Sumuyu's beautiful face, and she pointed at the door and shouted. But this anger is not only aimed at Yi Chen, but also Tang Yu. This bastard, why does still mumbling that I will got together with Yi Chen? The more Sumuyu said that, the sweeter Yi Chen felt in his heart. She is trying to protect me, so she deliberately sings a black face. She has me in her heart. So he looked at Sumuyu with a little more tender pampering. The smile on the corner of his mouth became more and more sinister and confident, and he said, Muyu, I won't leave you. With me by your side, you don't have to worry so much. The mere Tang family is nothing. When everyone in the Tang family heard this, they all showed anger. Sumuyu even got goosebumps and almost didn't bring breakfast to spit up. Everyone in the Su family was furious at this moment. A little bodyguard of his own blatantly made troubles. Didn't this push the Su family into the fire pit? Su Chongshan, who was at the extreme of rage, rushed up and pushed Yi Chen hard. It's just that Yi Chen stood there as still as a mountain, and Su Chongshan couldn't push him either. The furious Su Chongshan punched Yi Chen in the face and roared. You bastard, get the hell out, stop pestering my daughter. I have only one son-in-law in my life, and that is Tang Yu. My Su family will never forgive you if you keep pester. This punch had little damage, and it is extremely insulting. A strong killing intent flashed in Yi Chen's eyes. It was only because Su Chongshan was his father-in-law that he silently recited 2 words in his heart. Forbearance. Yes, as a Dragon King, the most important thing is to learn to endure. He said with a cold face, since I'm not welcome here, then I'll just leave. After he finished speaking, he cast a bitter look at Tang Yu. This kid didn't show up on purpose, and let the Su family deal with him. It's a good plan. It was obvious that the Su family would be used to force Sumuyu into submission. The humiliation that I have received today will be repaid with blood from him and the Tang family in the future. Muyu, remember that no matter what happens in the future, as long as you need it, I will definitely appear by your side to protect you. After leaving a sentence, Yi Chen strode away. Are you freaking crazy? What the hell does it have to do with me? You just want to make trouble with me, huh? I understand that the two of you have deep feelings for each other, but you don't want to play like this. I beg you, Sumuyu, hurry up and go with your husband, take the high-speed train and leave. Sumuyu on the side was also full of anger. She had been listening to this guy muttering for a long time. One bite of your husband. I'm your fiancé. You don't want me to get close? I'll do it on purpose. Annoyed, she walked over to Tang Yu and kissed him on the cheek. Consider it a dog kiss. Fortunately, Tang Yu was quick-witted and quickly covered his face with his hands. Let Sumuyu kiss the back of her hand. Damn, you're so vicious? Want to kiss me? Fortunately, my skills are superior, so that you succeeded and there is still a way to live today. The two stared at each other, and the guests laughed wildly when they saw this comedy scene. Yi Chen, who was walking to the door, heard the cheers, looked back, and his eyes were split. His own woman is kissing another man? Although just kiss on the back of the hand. The laughter of the guests stimulated his nerves even more. He clenched his fists tightly, but in the end he didn't go back to start a killing spree. Because he knew that Sumuyu must have done this in order to endure the humiliation and compromise. She is protecting herself from the Tang family. After all, she didn't know his identity and strength as the Dragon King. But now is not the time to reveal your identity. He still needs to continue lurking and slowly investigate the truth of the annihilation of the year. Yi Chen took a deep breath and walked out of the Tang family with hatred. This Tang family no longer needs to exist.